Hello. It seems as though some people throughout some online forums and YouTube comment sections have been having some trouble getting to download Wizard101 on Linux. Most popularly, it seems to be Ubuntu, as I am also running here. And this method will only work on Ubuntu 20.04, the long-term support version of Ubuntu. If you guys ever want me to show this method with other types of Linux, like Linux Mint or Arch Linux, or older versions of Ubuntu, just let me know in the comments section, and I'll make those videos also. If you want to check what version of Ubuntu you have, just go into the bottom left hand corner, click on the waffle, then scroll down, go to the terminal, and just type lsb underscore release space -a, and then it should show you what version you are using. I'm using 20.04 long-term support version. Also, before starting this process, I just want to make clear that there are probably faster shortcuts to doing this process. For the more experienced users of Ubuntu out there, there will probably be some steps that it seems like I'm going really slow. I just want to make sure that I'm showing every step I'm doing. Also, if you do, I have a link posted in the description of a source that I used for some of the more major steps of the process. So if you did want to just go to that blog post and use that, you could probably figure out some of the other steps on your own. However, if you guys want to know the full process, I'll be doing that here. And then I just want to also make clear that this is a fresh system, and it's Ubuntu factory reset, so I haven't done any processes or anything beforehand of this video to download and play Wizard101. And so yeah, I'm just starting straight from scratch. So the first thing you want to do on the bottom left hand side is go to click on the waffle again, scroll down, and then on the black circle of the software updater. I usually just do this beforehand to make sure there aren't any system updates that I should be checking for. In the past, it seems that if I didn't check for these before, sometimes Wizard101 had a hard time downloading, so it just makes it easier sometimes. This comes up for me sometimes. Failed to download repository information. I usually just click OK, and then it usually comes up with a message showing that there are no software updates available, and so I guess that means that you're pretty much up to date. For the next thing, just go to your browser. Any browser will work, and just download Wizard101. I'm using Firefox just because there's another step with this window that pops up after. On Google Chrome, I believe that you can just skip this step. I don't think this window pops up at all. So just leave this first box unchecked, and then you want to click just to save file. This will put the download into your files folder within your kind of file explorer of Ubuntu. So just click OK. And I know there is also a way to play it on Steam. However, this will just be the conventional way of just downloading from their website. So once it is downloaded in the files folder, right here, you don't want to click on it yet. Next, we are going to go to the terminal again. So bottom left hand corner, click on the waffle, scroll down, then open the terminal again, and then from the source in the description that I mentioned earlier, these are the instructions into getting the program called Wine, which will help run Wizard101, being a Windows program on Ubuntu, and it will run Wizard101 with the newest version of Wine, which is version 5.0.1, and with the new version of Wine 5.0, they have a new system called F Audio, and I guess this new system, the files to run this F Audio system aren't by default already in Ubuntu, so I guess you have to download them separately from online. These set of commands for the terminal will download the sound files that you need to run the latest version of Wine. I just want to make that clear because it seems as though on the official Wine website, these files aren't really included. They're left out, and it seems like that users are expected to download them on their own. But anyway, so the first thing, I'm just going to copy and paste these right into the terminal. It'll ask you for your password. And then it shouldn't give you a confirm prompt that you have enabled. This is for enabling 32-bit architecture in case it's needed. And it won't give you a confirm prompt that you have enabled it. It will just go on to the next command line. And then the next one is sudo apt update. And I know these messages have appeared before, that there's not such a release file included. This should be okay. I'm not sure why this particularly shows up. I don't technically know the technical details of these processes, but I do know what they're doing in general. Obviously, this is just for updating the recent files for, I don't know if it's 32-bit architecture or other files or systems, but it should be okay if it shows the this error message or anything like that. It should be okay. Next thing we are going to download, or the next command we are going to add is this one. Should just say okay. This has been described on the website as adding the Wine repository to your system so that you can download the files for actually getting Wine. And I guess this next command on the fourth line has been described as doing kind of the same thing. This fifth line can actually be found on the official Wine website. It's just included, and this is only for Ubuntu 20.04. Again, it says some error messages that should be okay. I would just skip right past them. The next thing, as you can see in line 6, it does show that it is downloading files for OpenSUSE, which some of you may know is a very different type of Linux. But I guess the format in which these files are for the new audio system, the F Audio system that Wine uses. So I guess the files that are compatible for OpenSUSE are also compatible for Ubuntu. So even though they are from OpenSUSE, they should be okay. It says okay right here. Next one. Okay. Then sudo apt update. Again, it has more error messages stating it doesn't have a release file. That should also be okay. I would just ignore those messages. And then the final line is for finally installing Wine for your system. It'll ask if you want to continue. Just say yes. And again, this process will take a little bit longer because it's finally actually installing Wine onto your computer, and it should install the latest version 5.0.1. And when this process is done, the process of putting all these commands in and all future commands you won't have to do, it should add to your application screen an icon to play Wizard101, just like it would on Windows if you have played it on Windows before. And this process should also work for Wizard101. I mean Pirate101 also, sorry. And I also want to stress that Wine doesn't perfectly run on Wizard101, so there are some error messages that appear. Most of these error messages that appear and things that look different about the process of running Wizard101 as compared to Windows can just be ignored. It seems like it's not a perfect process, but it does run smoothly once you actually do launch the game and are in game. So yeah, this should run. For the rest of the process, I will skip to the end of the installation of Wine and go from there. So now that Wine has been installed, by the way, all of these commands for the terminal, you do not need to go to the source that I found these at in the website for. They will all be in the description, numbered, and just make sure to copy and paste them in line by line, not all at once like that. So after this, Wine, if you go to your applications, will not be in there, although it is downloaded and installed. If you want to make sure that Wine has been installed, you can type Wine. Sorry, it's freezing up for a second. Wine, space, and then -- version. And then it should say that you have Wine 5.0.1. And then the next process, which isn't included on the blog post, but can still be figured out, to launch this particular file with Wine, you have to let it know the location of the file and the file you want to launch, kind of specifically. So the way to do this is just go back to your terminal, type Wine, space, then the single quotation mark, and then on the download window of your folder, what you want to do is right click on the download file Wizard101, and then go down to properties right here. And the important information you first want to use is the parent folder location. So you can just copy and paste this after you have typed the single quotation mark, and then you want to put another slash after the downloads in the terminal right here. And then after that, you just want to put the name of the download file, which can be found right here, install wizard101.exe, just like that. And then you want to put one more quotation mark at the end to finish off the location of the file. So now after this, just hit enter, and it should stall for a few minutes. If that is okay, you will see over here that Wine has launched. Sometimes it will show the Wine icon, or just show the gear icon as it does here. It'll ask you for 3 downloads. It'll ask you to install Wine Mono installer, sorry. Just click install, let it download. There will be 2 more downloads after this. It'll ask for that you must install the Wine Gecko downloader, and it'll ask again for to install Wine Gecko downloader. I'm guessing that the 2 download files it wants you to install are different, although it appears to have the same message. So just click install for any windows that pop up. I'm guessing that with the version of Wine we installed and the type of application we want to launch, that it doesn't have all the files to launch Wizard101. So it just offers to download them for you. And then WineGecko installer, just click install once again. All of this detail in the background will keep scrolling down. At this point you can exit the terminal. Oh, never mind, sorry. At a later point you will be able to. I guess you have to leave it open for now. Sorry about that. I will close that text document. And then this is the last download it wants you to install. And just click install once again. Just let it do its thing. And you can exit the files folder also. And just let it download. And then after this, the Wizard101 window for logging in should appear. Sorry, the installation client will appear. Just click play. It should download just like that. And at this point, the login window will appear. As it has been noted that it's not perfect, either right here where it says loading, it will either appear such as this or completely black. For the Wizard101 client login window, it will never show any information, even though the login feature does work. Username and password type in here, and it also shows this false positive message of the program error right here. However, you can just disregard this. It does appear every time you launch Wizard101, but just note that it is false and it shouldn't be treated as anything to worry about. So just hit close, and this will keep scrolling in the background. Just ignore it. So after this, I like to exit out the launcher and restart the PC. By this time, and after you install Wizard101 on your PC, it'll install two more things. This right here is usually the icon for the shortcut to the login window that Wizard101 usually has on Windows. However, if you click on it in Ubuntu, because I guess the file names are different, it'll have this mess appear, a bunch of coding mess. Just exit it out. This will have to, you can just delete this. It's not really of any use. So just move to the trash. And then as you can see here in your application window, if you scroll down, the Play Wizard101 icon should appear here, and will appear here for anytime that you log into your computer. It should always be here. And I have experienced sometimes after I install Wizard101, if I try to log in right away, it seems like it won't let me, but it seems that if I restart my computer and then try to log in, it usually does work. So I will do that now, and after I restart the system, I will launch. Okay, so now after the restart, all you have to do, once again, lower left hand corner, go to the applications, scroll down, click on the icon, and the login window should appear, and the program error that the Wizard101 program will not work should also appear once again. And keep in mind that when I do launch the game and the game begins to render, it may appear as though rendered very slow and will take a long time. This is most likely because my computer components are pretty. Oh, also, if this system program problem detected also appears, just click cancel and disregard that also. that is also a false positive message that appears sometimes. But anyway, so when I do launch the game, if it appears to be running very slow, just remember my computer components are very old. Most of them are from around the 2011 era. So while the game does run correctly, once everything has loaded, it may appear that everything that is loading into the game is loading at a very slow rate. This will most likely be faster for any of you watching. So just click login. It should load. It may relaunch the logging in screen once again, as it does sometimes on Windows also. And for some people out there, oh yeah, sometimes this has happened before too. It's a bug where you may have to log in twice. As you can see, the black screen has appeared right here. If it does do this, just log in again. If you have to do it 3 times, which may happen, it seems as though once you have logged in once or twice, that this bug doesn't appear sometimes from the trials that I have tried in the past. So just be aware that most likely nothing is wrong with your computer. As you can see, even though I X'd out the program window, it'll probably appear again. You can probably just leave it open. It seems to pop up with great frequency often. But if you do have a more powerful computer, and you may be able to log into Wizard101 right after you have installed it, you may not need to reset your computer. However, if it continuously doesn't let you to log in, I would just try restarting your computer, and then it will most likely work. So as you can see here that the launcher is taking a little longer to load. It's a very good sign that you will most likely be able to play the game after this. And from my trials of testing Wizard101 on here, the character models that aren't actually players on the server seem to render very slow. This may be because of my old computer components that I have, but they do render eventually. And over time, I think as the game has been launched and played more frequently, it seems as though these character models do appear faster, or appear with no lag at all. So just be aware of that. Now the black screen, this is usually where the Wizard101 logo appears, that the game is launching and loading. You'll most likely be taken to this screen, and then it should launch right away. As you can see, I have my noob character here, and if you click play right from here, as it does sometimes do with Windows, it'll say hold on, it still needs to load all the assets for the world. This, because my computer is so old, usually does take a very long time. But yeah, so Wizard101 should run just fine. If you guys have any questions, please list them in the comments and I will answer. I will be launching Wizard101 once a day to make sure it still runs online, and I will be checking the comments once a day just to check for any questions. And I'm planning for about in 1 year, or whenever Wine or Ubuntu has been updated, to make a new video detailing how to launch Wizard101 if any necessary changes need to be made.